Welcome, welcome everyone to the platform. Listen, we are always excited to see you all in the building, okay? And so tonight we have a very special guest with us, and we are going to be talking about real estate and motherhood, okay? And with that being said, you all already know, you know where I'm going with this, okay? We about to make it do what it do, baby, baby, okay? Listen, tonight our special guest is none other than Miss WAKISHA Charley. Listen, give it up for her. Listen, don't hate, don't judge me with my 2 years old. I'm by myself, okay? So I gotta make it do what it do because it's only me, okay? Y'all better appreciate it, okay? Anywho, I'm just playing with you all out there. All right, so listen, we are gonna do a quick check-in with our guest before we get started with her interview and her testimony and her story, okay? Which I'm looking forward to hearing tonight. So it is 2024. WAKISHA, what say you? How are you doing thus far this year?
I have to say, I'm doing amazing. This is so far has been a very busy year, but I'm excited for what's to come.
Awesome, awesome. I'm excited for you as well. So we don't like to, waste any time over here on the platform. So we're just going to jump right on into this interview. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So, share with us where you are from and a little bit about your educational background.
Absolutely. So I like to refer to myself as a city girl with Southern roots. And what that means is, while I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, my mom was born in North Carolina, and my dad, who has since passed, unfortunately, was born in Alabama. Hence the city girl with Southern roots. Now, I
Interesting.
I graduated from Curry College with a bachelor's in, I majored in sociology and I minored in psychology. And that's the extent of my educational background, as I had zero interest in furthering that and getting my master's. And so with that, I was able to create quite the progressive professional career, in that I was able to work within the healthcare realm, operations side specifically, for a little over 30 years now. So
Wow.
the degree did benefit me tremendously.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Right? Because ain't nobody got no time out here to be wasting, nor money. Okay.
Listen,
Time or money. We not wasting it. Okay.
not
Not in this day, time and hour, okay? Because things is changing. Okay.
seriously.
Okay, so describe what a good time is for you. So what do you do to unwind, relax, and get some self-care in?
Great question. So self-care for me, it's a couple of things. So
Mhm.
I enjoy being out in nature. So
Oh, love that.
oftentimes, yes, ma'am. So
Mhm.
oftentimes I will go out and I will take walks if it's a nice day, right? Um, or I might hang back home, either cook some food or buy out
Mhm.
and have a nice glass of wine while watching a movie. That for me, because I'm a bit of a homebody, that for me is self-care, right? Um, Oftentimes I may also go and get a massage, but
Oh.
the nature, being out in nature is like my happy place. And being home. I enjoy being home as well.
I feel you completely because we have that in common. Okay. about that? Okay, well, one thing people don't know about you that would surprise them, like, do you have a hidden talent, maybe a secret life? I don't know, but the people wanna know, what's up?
One thing people may not know about me. So very few people know this about me, and that is that I I'm into feng shui, right? So
Interesting.
yeah, in interior design, right? And
Mm.
really positioning your space
Mhm.
for productivity. So
Mm.
there's a certain way you can position your desk,
Mhm.
right? That will aid in a more productive working environment. There are things you could do with your plants. There are certain plants that you can have within your space that will help to increase like oxygen or
Yeah,
like can dispel like certain chemicals in the air, like things like that. Like I think people would be surprised that about me. Heavy,
got
heavy into feng shui.
It's really interesting because I have been taking a look at a few videos that have been coming up, like my social media feed on like
Uh-huh.
different plants that help with the environment as far as like with your breathing and things of that nature. And it's really interesting because I began to think about how my mom used to have certain plants all around the house, and I'm like, well, I was breathing a little bit better, so maybe there is something something to this. So well, now you all know, okay? That's one thing that you didn't know about Miss Waukesha. So you can't say you don't know anymore because now you know. Um, so then let's go here. Do you have a pet peeve? And if so, please share with us what that pet peeve is. For example, listen, plenty of people probably already know because I've said it enough times. I got a thing about, people who allow their pets to walk around the stove and the food while they cooking. You got tails wagging in the macaroni. You got dogs licking the meat while you putting it in the pan. And some of these folks, they be like, oh, you gotta wait like the rest of us. And I'm like, what? He ain't supposed to be on the table. Well, his tongue is in the meat. What do you do? Let me okay, you know what? The question was for you. Let me calm down because that thing be triggering me a little bit. Okay.
Nope.
So what is your pet peeve? Share with the folks. Okay.
Oh boy, I have two, but I'll mention one.
Mhm.
I guess dirty nails.
That's a first. And I get it though, but I haven't had anyone come on and mention that. Come on, let's go. Let's talk
So,
about it.
so especially if you're a guy,
Mhm.
right? And while I understand, maybe you're in construction, right? So,
Mhm.
so but like, or maybe you just didn't shower that day, or maybe you didn't shower for several days. Like, what I mean? Like,
Not several. My God.
it's an issue for me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
it's
so
an
is that like something that you take like notice of immediately when you like meet a person? Is it like that?
100%. Yes.
Got you. Got you. Because I know so you know my husband, right? And
I
so he has a thing about, for example, people who talk a lot with their hands. And
do.
for me, it's like I notice it, but it's not a bother. For him, like he's listening to you, but at the same time, all he sees is this. And and he is distracted. He is like, why are your hands doing why? And I remember one day I've said to him a few times, I'm talking. Why are you even paying attention to all of that? And he's like, I just don't know. I just can't do it. It's what is this? What so to each his own, everybody, pretty much everybody probably has a thing. They may not speak
Mhm.
out loud about it, but now you all know when you come around Miss Waukesha Charley, make sure you get up. Look, before do some preparation. Get up underneath them nail beds and
Wait.
make sure you clean them real good because guess who's gonna notice, Miss Charlie? Oh,
Mhm.
all right. We gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave that right there. All right. So let's go here. Share with us two things you are most passionate about.
Okay. I'd have to say I am most passionate about writing. Now I have gotten away from it. I used to write a lot of poetry, and I've gotten away from it, right? Life tends to life, right? So so I haven't been able to get back into it while I still journal. Um, it's just you get lost, right? In your writing. Time just you just get lost. So writing definitely, and also I am passionate about encouraging and inspiring people, especially my single mamas, right? Single dads too, right? You
Mhm.
can't forget about them. They exist,
Yeah.
and they're doing their thing, right? But because I am a single mom, right, and so that comes closer to home for me.
Yeah.
I am passionate about encouraging them.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
understandable. Yeah. Mm. Well, what burdens your heart? Because I know that, there's some people out here when they just hear
Mhm.
about certain things happening in the world,
Yeah.
um, just certain things, it's a burden on their heart. It's not just, something that they notice. It's not just like a little concern. It's like, no, like you may feel like, for some people at least, you may feel like I was born for this, or I have to do something
Mhm.
about this, right? For
Mhm.
me, I've worked with teens as a youth director for many years, and I advocate for young people. And so for me, I'm really passionate about helping them in different areas of their lives. But I have a burden when it comes to making sure that they are not indoctrinated by things that are just
Mhm.
negative and things that people are bringing forth to try to bring about harm or confusion and things of that nature to the young people. So, share with us some things that like burden your heart.
Okay. So, while there are some things with my son that do burden my heart, and I'm working through that, right, with him.
Mhm.
There's, as I mentioned about single moms, and you mentioned the youth, right?
Mhm.
Um, what burdens my heart is the stigma that is tied or linked to single moms, right?
Mm.
Single dads, they don't have the same stigma, right?
Mm.
So things have been said like, single moms are the low hanging fruit, right?
Mm.
Or like, no one will ever really love a single mom because nobody wants a ready made family. Nobody really wants a ready made family. Like things like that
Mhm.
really hurt, right?
Yeah.
Because not only because I'm a single mom, but because I see these women. I know these women. I am this woman. And
Right. Right.
so for you to speak against us in that way when we're out here hustling,
Right.
oftentimes harder than some men, right?
Mhm.
We're out here trying to make sure that our kids are provided for,
Right.
whether the dad is there or not. We're
Mhm.
out here like missing meals sometimes so that our kids can eat. So
Right.
making like hard life choices when it comes to having to work or be home with your sick child. So
Right.
like it hurt it when I tell you, and I'm always ready to go to bat for my single moms. Like,
I know
please,
that's right.
please don't come for us. Please don't do it.
Listen, WAKISHA, she ain't even gonna be in the room. You say something wrong, she just gonna pop up like a superhero. You gonna be like, "Where you come from, girl?"
So yeah, so that burdens my heart. The stigma, right?
Yeah.
But
So let me ask this. This was not, a question on the agenda for tonight, but you mentioned something that made me want to go here for a moment. So, as a mother, during, the COVID period, right?
Mm.
How were you able to manage, business, mothering during that period? Were you affected by it? And if so, in what way would you say?
So the mothering, so I wasn't affected business wise because I had actually, while I had started studying for my real estate exam, I had put it off
Mm.
till after because the exam centers were shut down.
Oh.
Um, yeah, for a time, for a period. And so I had put it off and kind of
Mhm.
just, I did a lot of reflecting. I did a lot of walks with my son,
Mhm.
lots of talks with him, lots of playing outside, just having that time. And during that time also, I was in a space where it was just like I was ready to make the transition from being home with my parents to being in my own space.
Right.
So during that time, I was also going through the process of purchasing my first home. And
Yay.
so, yeah, and I was able to accomplish that, praise God. Um,
Oh.
so yeah, I wasn't affected in respect to the business as I hadn't yet acquired my license. But I did accomplish purchasing my first home. So that was good.
Congratulations. That's big.
Yes, yes, thank you.
That's big. Congratulations. So overall, it sounds like, some very positive and good things were happening during that time. And
Yes.
thank God you were able to manage well, right? Because, that's a part of it as well. We can accumulate things, but do we steward things well? That's just in my mind because I've been having that conversation with a lot of people lately.
Mm,
It's not enough to just be able to get things, but you got to be able to know how to steward them and manage them well. And it sounds like, you have a grip in that area. So that's beautiful. That is
thank you.
absolutely beautiful. And I'm excited about the things that you're doing. And so speaking of which, let's go here for a moment. Share with us um, a little bit about your more dominant occupation, and how you ended up working in that space.
Okay. So my more dominant occupation is absolutely real estate. And how I came to this career business is so as I had mentioned during COVID when I had purchased my home, the excitement and the feeling of accomplishment, right, that I had within me as a single mom was like something that you can't even describe it, right?
Yeah.
Because prior to that, it was a question, right? Can I really do this, right? Can I
Mhm.
really do this on my own? Can I really pay a mortgage on my own? Single income, single mom, right? So those kinds of thoughts went through my mind. And so when I was able to then sign those papers,
Mhm.
get my keys, I was like, oh my gosh, I did it, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so I decided in that moment that that was something that I wanted to ensure that I was able to help other single moms do that
Right.
possibly were thinking the same thing, right? I'm gonna wait till I get married to purchase my home, right? So that we have the single, so we got the double income, right?
Right.
And so I just wanted to be able to help others to accomplish that for themselves that maybe are doubting that they cannot do it, right?
Right. Right. Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, that was important to me in that moment, not only for that reason, but also because I've seen like a lot of my peers um, get into marriages because they wanted to leave their parents home, right?
Mhm.
Then when they did, they found that it wasn't what they thought. And
Right.
so that it was a situation where they're miserable, right?
Mm.
Unhappy, just feeling stuck. And
Mhm.
I didn't want that for myself. I didn't want that for my son. And so
Right.
I just want to be able to encourage other single moms. Not that there's anything against being married. Of course, like I want to be married someday, but
Mhm.
don't like hold off on the things that you desire waiting
Come
when
on.
there's resources
Mm,
available to you,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Like if you really want it, you can position yourself to have it. And with
Yes.
God's help, all things are possible.
Absolutely. Come on. Listen, you preaching me happy over here right now. Listen, I love that kind of talk. I love it. I love it because we already have too many people out here just on the negative tip. You know what I mean? Like we need the encouragers. We need not
Yeah,
only just the encouragers, but those that have experienced these things, those that have these things under their belt because you've gone through it, right? And so
right.
you've learned from it, so you can tell them a little bit about the road and path not to take and the path
Mhm.
that's probably more so going to benefit you, right? You have the experience. So, I mean, I love that. So let's go here because I don't know that I can wait any longer to hear, your story and your testimony. Right? Listen, I'm drawn in. I'm drawn in. Okay.
Whew.
So, you talked about this a little bit, and being a parent and a
Yes.
businesswoman is not, it's not always easy. So we would love to hear your story in hopes
Mhm.
that it will inspire other parents and
Sure.
business women out there. So you
Okay.
all listen, don't go anywhere because at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to hear from our guests, Miss WAKISHA Charley with real estate and motherhood, her journey, her testimony. The floor is yours, love.
Thank you so much. Okay, so where do I begin? So, when we're talking about motherhood and business, there are a few key components that I want to share with you all. The first one is around healing, right? Healing and trauma. I feel as though when you're thinking about business and building a business, if you want to build a business that's going to be sustainable, right? It starts with you as an individual. So, what parts of you require healing? Where are the childhood traumas that are so deeply embedded within you that they're causing limiting beliefs, right? They're causing you to have that imposter syndrome, that it's causing you to feel as though you're not worthy, feel as though you are not valuable or that you don't have anything to contribute. What are those things? Right? There's the saying that if you build it, they will come, right? And while that may be true, what's going on within you that you need to rewire, right? What do you need to take a closer look at that's going to help you to be able to evolve and transform and elevate in such a way that you bring in the business, you bring in the clients, right? And I say that because, and I want to quickly shout out Atia Jenkins, right, where she talked a lot about the molestation that she had endured and the abuse and so forth. And I just want to encourage her as she encouraged me, because I too dealt with molestation. And not many people know this, but I dealt with molestation at about 8 or 9 years old, and then again at about 15. And so when I talk about healing and the trauma and the limiting beliefs that result as as you have dealt with those things, it's important to be able to address those if you're going to be an effective businesswoman, an effective businessman, right? And so I am on a healing journey. And so this is why I wanted to speak to that first, because there's a certain level of energy that you exude when you have these things inside of you that you haven't yet addressed, right? There are those limiting beliefs that will take over and they won't allow you to take the risks. They won't allow you to put yourself out there and be vulnerable, much like being on a podcast and just sharing, right? A little bit of your story. And so healing, very, very important, right? You want to build the business, but you also have to do some inner work, right? To be able to transform and elevate and get to that next level. Okay. And then another key component is mentorship. And that's important as well, because no man is an island, right? No one can do anything on their own. You can with God's help. However, mentorship is key, because when you see someone that is successful and they are where you want to be, you want to rub up against them, right? Iron sharpens iron. So you want to get up under them and you want to learn from them, but don't just go to take. Our broker at Thumbprint Realty talks about when you have mentors and you're going to seek guidance, also offer to help them with something. Don't just go to take, but go also to give, right? Discipline and consistency. This is important as well. Oftentimes we get into a space and a phase where we're doing the things, right? And we don't see the result. I want to encourage you not to look at the results, but to focus on the consistency, right? Focus on doing the things daily, whatever it is, and structure your day in such a way that you're able to hit the hardest tasks first. Because if you do that, then the rest of your day is like smooth sailing, right? So I want to encourage you to stay disciplined and be consistent. Whatever that thing is that seems hard for you, right? Like go after it with everything you got. Learn, do the research, figure out a way to get beyond it, and you're going to be fine. Okay, this one is important too. Monitoring your environments, because, it's something to be said about the fact that you win or lose first in your mind. And so while we are battling internal things, right, like feeling unworthy and feeling like we don't add value, we don't have anything to contribute, or feeling like we're unable to do something because of this thing happened to me, right? Or because of this person did this to me, right? We want to be careful of the environments that we put ourselves in, or even the people that we allow access to us, right? Because if they're not speaking life into us, if they're not encouraging us, if they're not being cheerleaders for us, right? Your hype man, your hype woman, right? When you're feeling like you can't go on, when you're feeling like, you're defeated, right? You need people around you, or you need to be in the spaces and the places where they see you and they encourage you through that doubt and they push you, right? They help to propel you to that achievement, that success, right? So find your tribe. That is also important in business. Focus. So when I was studying for my exam, it was important for me to structure my day so that I was able to block off time to be able to focus on the studies. I was working a full-time job, and so I found myself getting up early, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, to study before work and to have that time to be able to focus, right? I also had to use my lunch hour, and I also had to use time after work. So just finding those blocks of time where you can really focus in on what you want to do, what you want to achieve with your business is also important. Whatever that is for you. I'm a morning person. So I work best in the morning. You may be a night owl, so you may work best at night or in the evenings. Whatever that looks like for you, it's important to block out the times in your day where you can focus. And then establishing a solid prayer life, right? Just having that time with God, whether it's in the morning or before you go to bed or during the middle of the day or at various times of the day, right? Just leaning in and praying to him and asking him for guidance and direction in your business is important. Praying to him before you're meeting with clients, praying to him as you're like working with clients, praying to him for clients, right? Because you can't work with everybody and everybody is not going to be able to work with you. That's just life. That's just the way it is. So just praying through that is going to help you tremendously. Now, I talked a lot about business, right? And some of the things that are important as it relates to business. But as a mom and as a single mom, there are various challenges, even with my parenting, that I've had to address. Right. So when I've had certain successes within my business, it almost was bittersweet because I know that my son has challenges, right, that he's working through and that we are both working through together. I talked a little bit about burdens on my heart. And while, yes, stigmas placed on single moms is a heavy burden for me because I am a single mom, but also the fact that my son and his father has never really established a bond, right? A relationship, that connection that every boy needs to have with his father, right? Because that's tied to his identity, right? It's tied to his ability to become the man that he should be, right? So we're working through that. I've linked him with Kings Amongst Kings. It's a mentorship program within Boston. The broker of Thumbprint is one of the co-founders, and he meets with these men once a month at the end of the month. Every last Thursday of the month, actually. And the mentorship program is designed for men and boys, right? It's a space where they can talk about mental health challenges, things that they're facing, things that they're struggling with, not just mental health, maybe other aspects that they might be struggling with. It also exposes him to men that are doing great things in the community, within their businesses, and it allows him an opportunity to be able to see what is possible for him. So those are the two things I struggle most with, and things that I'm tackling just about daily, right? And I also want to encourage those listening and watching that are maybe going through a healing journey of their own. Know that healing is in fact a journey, and it's not a once and done. Okay, I want to encourage you in that. And that, in a sense, may be a tad bit discouraging, but I do want to encourage you that after every layer that you pull back, every issue that you look at, every trauma that you process through and you address, you gain new strength, new hope, new confidence, right? And you elevate just a little bit more. So stay encouraged, right? My single mamas out there, my single daddies out there, right? Stay encouraged, because there are 4 instances in my life where I've seen God move. Okay, I've felt his presence and I've seen him move, and instances and spaces and places where I didn't think that he could or would. But constant prayer and being in his word and just allowing him to direct you, allowing him to lead you, and leaning on his word and applying it is going to be beneficial for you. Okay, because it's not easy. It's not easy. But I want to, again, encourage you, with God, all things are possible. Don't listen to the stigmas. Don't listen to the negativity. You single mamas, you're beautiful. I see you. You're capable, you're worthy, and you're valuable. And you are loved, no matter what they say. Be encouraged. And that is my story.
Good stuff. Listen, y'all done caught me over here eating a little something. I was sitting there, I was enjoying it like it was a movie, okay? Please forgive me, you all. I'm more professional than that. I promise you I am. It's good to have fun. It's good to laugh a little bit, though. You know.
Keeps you young.
So, what I would like to do at this time is just have you share a little bit about real estate. Like, bring us into even if you just share some bullet points, bring us into that process. Take us on that journey when you began in this space, what that looks like, some of the questions that people may ask, some of the answers that you know that they would like to hear. So take us on that journey a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I passed my test and acquired my license in April of 2023. Did a little bit of research to try to figure out where I wanted to hang my hat in terms of a brokerage, and landed on Thumbprint Realty. Signed with them on June 1st of 2023. And so, yeah, I'm about 9 months in so far, and it's been amazing. Some of the things that, or questions that I've had that folks have asked of me as of late are questions like, what's the minimum credit score requirement to be able to get a loan? And I mean, I'm happy to report that you could get a loan with a 580 credit score, right? It's not ideal because your interest rate will, you'll have you'll be paying a lot more, right? But the sweet spot is around 640, right? 620, 640, right? It opens up a lot more programs. You get more access to other programs. There are different first-time homebuyer programs out there. There's the Mass One Boston. There's various other programs and grants that you could qualify for that could help you to be able to acquire this home or acquire a mortgage for a home. Some other questions that people may ask me are pertaining to various areas that they're interested in. They want to know what the market's doing, what are the home prices in various areas that they're interested in moving to. And I would like to just emphasize here that you may have a pre-approval for a certain amount, but please be mindful of the areas where that would qualify you for, right? So the areas that you would have buying power within. So, and I say that because housing prices within Boston, the city of Boston, they've gone up tremendously. I think. And if you're looking for something nice, now if you want to get a fixer-upper, there's some wiggle room there, right? But just be mindful when it comes to your pre-approval and where that kind of would position you to buy. I think a lot of people don't really think about that. I also get questions about different situations, right? Some people have things that are impacting them or holding them back on their credit. Some people are having tax issues, and some people are curious in terms of student loans, how that would impact them. And I know an amazing tax strategist. She also does credit repair. And also when it comes to student loans, that is another thing where if you are a nurse or you are working within a nonprofit organization, you have an opportunity to get your student loans forgiven. So that's important. I've had individuals reach out to me regarding Section 8 because they are interested in becoming homeowners. And when I tell you, I love the city of Boston because they have so many resources that they're making available to people across the board that are looking to become homeowners. Like there's a Section 8 to homeownership program that is huge right now, and not a lot of people know about it. So I want to encourage those that perhaps are on Section 8 within the Boston Housing Authority specifically, and you are interested in becoming a homeowner, please reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk through eligibility requirements and see how we can help you. But essentially, what would happen when you're looking to purchase a home is the first thing is you want to know what your credit score is and what your credit profile looks like, right? Then you want to meet with a lender so that he can pull your credit. Now, he can do a soft pull so that it doesn't affect your credit score. And he can look at your profile and he can let you know sort of what concrete steps you can take as needed to increase your credit score, to position you to buy. Another important thing is having reserves, something within your account where you're saving up to contribute to closing costs and down payments. You want to have that because banks, you want them to look at you as a serious buyer. So it's important to have that as well. You need to have been within your company, employed with your company for minimum of 2 years, and you want to be able to have 2 months of not credit statement, excuse me, 2 months of bank statements available as well as part of that application submission for a loan. Given where we are with interest rates, I know a lot of people are waiting for interest rates to drop. And I want to encourage you, if you are in a position to buy now, I want to encourage you to buy now. Why do I want to do that? Well, I want to do that because if you recall during COVID, when the interest rates were so low, it was a seller's market, right? So there were lines of people that were waiting at these open houses. There were 20, 30 offers being made on various homes. And that puts you in a place where you're essentially in a bidding war, right? And you come out having to pay more for the house because you want your offer to be more attractive to the seller. Versus if you buy now and you're able to refinance later, once once the interest rates have dropped, you're in a better position because you're already in your home, right? And you don't have to deal with bidding wars and having to, put down more money to outbid others. It's just a better situation for you, again, if you're positioned to buy now.
That's good. This is really good. I know that this is going to help a few people, that have these questions, right? And you're giving them the answers. I want to just go back and ask a question about a few things that you mentioned. So my first question, though, is are you able to work with people out of state or just in Massachusetts?
So I am licensed in Massachusetts right now. So I'll only be able to work with individuals looking to buy within Massachusetts. I am in the process of acquiring my Rhode Island license. So I'll then be licensed by the end of April within Rhode Island and Massachusetts. I know oftentimes people are getting priced out of Massachusetts, and so it's causing them to have to look further out. And so I'd be able to certainly assist them in that regard. Now, if they're looking outside of either one of those states, and they're looking down south, for example, they're looking in Atlanta. We have an agent thumbprint agent in Atlanta, right? So they can work with them there. We have an agent in Florida, so they can work with her there. Where else? I think that's it. But I can also refer if someone's looking in North Carolina or if someone's looking in Texas. My mentor actually, and I'm on a team with she and 6 other girls or women. She lives in Texas and she's getting her license in Texas, but she's also connected with someone licensed in Texas. So she can work with them in Texas. So it's Texas, Rhode Island, Florida, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and Massachusetts. And soon Rhode Island.
Oh, that's what's up. Listen, she out here making boss moves. Okay, I love it. Well, this is my other question. And correct me if I'm wrong. You said, I believe you said, the person or the buyer, the person looking to buy, would have had to be working at their place of employment for 2 years. What if it's less than 2 years?
If it's less than 2 years and it's a situation where they were going to school or say maybe they were caring for a sick parent or something of that nature. Like there's creative things that we can do. The lender, especially, so long as they have something in writing that speaks to, okay, this was the situation and this is why I was not employed for the 2 years. If they say they run their own business, right? So then it would just be the it's not the W-2, it's the W-9, I believe, for the employers, or the 1099, excuse me. It's a 1099 for the self-employed. So they would just need to see those tax returns. Yeah, and then they could use that.
Okay. And during the buying process, can you just share with us like a few of the other agents or collaterals, if you will, that would be involved in the purchasing process?
Yes. So it would be me as a buyer's agent working with a buyer and a seller's agent working with the seller. There would be an attorney, right, involved. There would be the mortgage lender involved. And if there are any facilitators or if there are any like teammates, right? Like sometimes if you're working on a team and you'll include them for instances where maybe you go out of town and you want to keep that process going. You want to keep things moving along. So you'll have a teammate on there as well. So it's essentially like a team of people working for you. There's 2 attorneys. So there's 2 agents, buyer, seller. There's 2 attorneys, closing attorney for the seller, and then there's a closing attorney for the buyer. And then there's the mortgage lender, right, on there. And then and I think that's it. And then if you have a teammate on there as well, which would be again just somebody helping to keep things moving in the event that me as a seller agent or buyer's agent needs to like be out of town or something comes up or say I'm overwhelmed and I need, yeah.
Is there any particular place in Massachusetts where you would say you get more business over other places? Like, is there a pattern, a trend in like your customer base or client base, so to speak?
So that depends, right? Because it all is driven by what you're pre-qualified for, right? What you're not pre-qualified, excuse me, what you're pre-approved for. So you could be pre-approved for $1 million, up to $1 million, and you could look within downtown Boston, or you can look in Wellesley area, or you can look even within the city of Boston, right? They have homes there, new construction that's like $900,000, right? So it would depend on what the client is pre-approved for. Now, you can target a certain market of people or individuals, right? Say, I only want, not I only want to work with, but say I'm focusing on doctors, right? They'll be pre-approved for a certain amount depending on their financial profile.
Right.
Or say I want to work with um, like those that are in the union, right?
Mhm.
Like, contractors and like carpenters, and like say I want to focus on those individuals, right?
Mhm.
They would oftentimes be pre-approved for a different set amount. And I don't want to like generalize, because it definitely depends on um, if you're married or not, if you're single income, or you have a mate, right, or spouse. You have two incomes. So essentially, ideally, you could be pre-approved for a lot higher amount, depending on what your credit profile looks like, right? How much you have saved. Like, the key aspects of being able to position yourself for the highest amount is driven by not only your credit score, but your debt to income ratio.
Y'all
Did you
taking notes out there? Y'all better be, y'all better be taking notes. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No problem. Your credit score, your debt to income ratio, how much you have in reserves, right? How much you have in your account saved up to go towards closing costs and down payments, and also the employment aspect, right? What are you bringing in each month? What are you paid as a salary for the year? Do you have a side hustle where you have additional income? Do you get child support? Right? They factor that in as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it depends,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
On the client and their financial profile for sure.
Got it. This
Yeah.
is so good. This is so good because I had two homes when I lived out in Cali, and people really appreciate this type of information, right? And I love your pacing because some people they're like, wait a minute, slow down. Or somebody was teaching me and they was just talking so fast and I couldn't really understand it. So I love, your timing and your pacing of explaining everything. I believe that people will really be able to get it, understand
Mhm.
it, retain it, and apply it. Let me ask this question. How would the process work for someone who is looking to build a home from scratch?
So we, interestingly enough, have an agent on within Thumbprint that's worked with a couple of people. So they would need to purchase land, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
they would need to find the land,
Yeah.
right? And then they would need to go through the process of purchasing that land.
Mhm.
And then they would need to acquire a loan to be able to build on that land. And there's like, you got to get contractors, you got to get permits, it's a lot involved, but it's possible, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's finding the land, purchasing it, going through that process. That's a separate process, right? Through closing.
Right.
Um, and then being able to get the loan to build on the land. And I think there are instances where you can pay in increments, right? Stages, right?
Mhm.
As the property is being built. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I haven't had an experience, but one of the agents within Thumbprint has had experience in that. And
Got
there's actually a lender, Blue Mountain, Blue Mountain Lending, something like that, where they specialize in that sort of thing. So we have a contact where we could, for anyone looking to pursue that, we have a contact to link them to a lender to link them with.
Got it. That's always good that you have someone to refer them to, because this is another question that came to mind as you were sharing.
Mhm.
How would it look for someone who not only wants to purchase, let's say, a good amount of land and their home, of course, on that same piece of land, but
Okay.
they also want to, get into the space of crops and agriculture and
Wow.
things of
Okay.
that nature. How and they want all of that like at the same time.
Yeah.
Is that possible, or are those separate? Is that a separate process altogether?
So I I don't want to misspeak, but
Hmm.
I believe I don't think it would be a separate process. I think it would just be a matter of ensuring that the the land is conducive for that, right?
Hmm.
Having it tested to ensure that that is a capability for that space. Because
Hmm.
I would imagine, right, if you have big enough square footage, if the land is big enough to accommodate that, that it would just be testing out that dirt, making sure that that's going to be,
Right.
something that you could accomplish.
Hmm. Hmm. So
Yeah.
let me ask this. I've been watching a lot of people buy, I guess what they call like these tiny homes and like these, I don't remember the name, but like you can kind of like snap some of these homes, like you pull it out of a huge box, then you get it delivered to your land space, and they pull it out, and before you know it, like they pull on one side, pull on the other, and before you know it, like it's a house, and you're like, whoa, right? I've been seeing people purchase in that space a lot lately. How does that tie into working with someone in the real estate space?
That's a great question. I think you're referring to, is it the modular homes? They come,
I'm not sure what they're called. I'm talking about two different types, I
oh,
believe.
okay.
But I know that some of them, they're already like pre-built,
Built.
and they kind of come together. They're like, it reminds me of like Legos, right? They literally pull this structure like
Yeah.
off of a van, out of a box, and they snap the walls into place. And before you know it, it's like it look all right. It looks all right, right? Like
Hmm.
like it's the real deal. But I'm always curious to know, like, how does that work? Be it that you're having like a whole structure delivered to you and then placed on
Right.
the land, how that works. But that just might be like a sidebar question in my head. No worries.
Yeah, I'm like writing it down because like that's interesting.
Mhm. Somebody out there that's gonna listen, they're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. I should have wrote the name down. Um, yeah, I was gonna ask one other question, but I'm not gonna go there. It had more to do with like people purchasing like RVs and placing or wanting to know more about like how that whole situation goes as far as like where you can set up, because you can't just, well, I can't say that you can't just take it anywhere, but I would imagine like you have to have a permit, for some of these larger RV vehicles if you're going to purchase them as like your living space.
Right. I've actually seen in Rhode Island, it looked like a community of RVs
Hmm.
where like essentially like people live there. Um,
Right.
but I guess you would have to find a community where that is something that's like a commonality, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Because I think about them like a trailer house on wheels. That's
right.
just in my head.
Yeah. No, really, really. So yeah.
Which I'm familiar with. I'm not quite sure if we've ever talked about this, but I was born in North Carolina. And yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Born in North Carolina. My family is still in NC. And growing up, my grandmother actually had a trailer home. So I, you know, experienced that the whole trailer home thing. So anytime I see an RV, I'm like, oh, look at the trailer home on wheels. But anyhow, this is
And it
really
was within a community. It was like her home
You
was.
know, no, actually, she had her own land, so she owned the land that that the trailer was on. Let me ask this, and thank you all so much for tuning in. Those that are here now, those that will tune in and listen later. Listen, it's just two friends just having a conversation, and y'all just ear hustling in, okay? But let me ask this for anyone that may tune in that wants to get into this space, as far as like being a real estate agent or just working in this space. Period. What kind of advice could you give them, and is there any place in particular you would refer them to get started?
Yes. So if anyone's looking to become an agent, my so three things. You have to decide, you have to make the decision that it will be a sacrifice, right? Because you'll have to commit to study time and it won't be easy. Like you'll miss opportunities to be with family, you'll miss events and things. But if you want it bad enough, that won't be an issue. You will structure your day to be able to fit in time for your studies. That's the first thing. The second thing is the test, no matter where you're testing, if it's Massachusetts, if it's down south, if it's, the test is difficult. So if and or when you take your first exam, so you'll go through a course, a 40-hour course, right? It's required before you can take your exam. And I have a great teacher that I can refer people to if they're testing for Massachusetts, for the Massachusetts license. He's a great instructor. His name is Charles Burke, and he's out of Braintree. He's great. He gives you real life examples because that's what you're going to need when you're in there and you're taking your test. You need to be able to, when they're writing these questions, because they write them in such a way to confuse you. And you need to be able to remember actual examples, right? And be able to piece it all together so where it makes sense. So he's great. I have his information I can share for people that might need that. But also when you're going in and you're taking your test, if you do not pass on the first try, do not be discouraged, because the more you take the tests and the more you study, the more you'll remember. And so you will eventually pass it. Just don't give up and don't allow too much time between when you pass it and you fail and you start studying again. Don't wait too long to go back. That's what I did the first time I went to take the test, and I failed miserably, and I was just like, whatever. And so, but go back as many times as you need to go back and decide in your mind that you are going to pass that test, right? You win or lose first in your mind. So make a decision that you are going to pass it and do what you need to do to pass it. There are links on YouTube where the prep agent, he's amazing. That's another resource. And what's the third thing? Also what a key thing I think is for people that are looking to get into real estate. Let your people know while you're going through the process that you're doing this.
Gotcha.
So that's essentially you building your future clients.
Right.
Once you pass your test, it's no surprise when you let them know you got your license. Right. And it's nothing to be like, hey, remember I told you I was taking my license? Like I was going for my license. Well, I passed it. And you can ask for referrals. If they don't own a home, ask them if they're interested in owning a home, or ask them if they know anyone that's interested in owning a home. Also, another thing is become familiar with the different loan products so that you
Mm,
can speak to that intelligently. Also, connect with various lenders because they might get wind of resources, grants that could help your clients
mm,
that are buying. They could leverage those resources
right.
to help them with down payments or closing costs. And definitely get with a brokerage that offers a solid mentorship,
Mm,
right? And that has agents that are successful because
right.
because you can get up under them and you can learn from them.
Mm.
That's important. So those are the key things I think for anyone looking to become an agent should bear in mind.
Good stuff. Real good stuff. Okay, so what I'm about to do right now is share with you all some information in regards to how you can get in touch with Miss Charlie, and she can expound a bit
Yeah.
on this here. I'm going to put your Calendly
Yes.
information, and
Yes.
feel free to expound on your consultations.
Yes. So essentially, for anyone that is looking to buy or looking to sell, I want to have a consultation with you, right? I want to see where you are. I want to see what you're thinking. I want to see what you envision for your future, right? Where do you want to buy in? Right? What are some key things for you? Do you want a condo? Do you want a single family? Do you want a multifamily? Do you want to become an investor? What is it that you want to do? Do you see yourself expanding on in your real estate portfolio, and you haven't yet started? You want to know what's the best avenue for you to take? Reach out to me. Let's talk, because there's a way for you to set yourself up for success in real estate when you're looking to build a real estate portfolio. So that's important. If you are a seller, you have a home, you want to sell, you want to downsize, you want to sell and you want to retire down south, let's talk, right? Because there are some key things that you could do with your home to set yourself up for success. I see that a lot of sellers are making the mistake of pricing their homes too high, or they're
Mhm.
making the mistake of looking at the home and doing the cosmetic things
Mm,
versus the major things, like if there's an issue with your furnace, addressing that. If there's an issue with your roof, addressing that. If there's
mm.
an issue with the foundation, like things like that, those are major because those cost more down the line. So we want to address the big things versus the cosmetic things like painting, right? Um, that's important. So yeah, definitely reach out to me. The Calendly link is there. The consultation is not a commitment to work with me. It's essentially just an info session, right? I want to gain some insights in terms of what are your goals, right? What is it that you desire to achieve, and help you to navigate how you can leverage real estate to be able to accomplish those goals.
Awesome, awesome. Listen, you have the information now. No excuses, right? We have put the Calendly information here in the chat. It is up on the screen. Listen, reach out, connect with Miss Charlie, okay? And I just want to thank you once again, beautiful, for coming on to the broadcast and sharing with us. Listen, you all, again, connect with Miss Charlie. If this is something that you're looking to do, if you feel like, she is the person, that you need to connect with, again, no excuses. The information is right there on the screen and in the chat area for those that are here now, for those that will tune in later. So we are thankful for her and all of the information that she provided us with today. We're thankful for her story, her testimony, her journey and her wins. Okay, she got her house. She got her real estate license. You know, she's just making it do what it do, baby. Okay, and so at this time, I just want to give you an opportunity to um, do any kind of shout outs, you know, to whoever you want to shout out, invite people to anything that you may have going on in the community in regards to any type of events. This would be the time to do so. So
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity to shout people out. I do want to shout out my broker, Thumbprint Realty, Alex E. Edwards. He's amazing, amazing man in the community. He's doing amazing work. Always for the people of the city of Austin, and he's an inspiration. I also want to shout out my mentor, Carrie Lee Blake, who is also an amazing person. We call her the GOAT in real estate. I go to her with any questions, any concerns. She has been awarded the Agent of the Year 3 times with Thumbprint, so she knows her stuff. I want to shout out the Red Diamond team. As I said, it's myself and 6 other women who have partnered together. We're a team, and we are essentially positioning ourselves to really take over. And so keep an eye out for us. And just finally, if there is anyone that is looking to, if I could, purchase in Raynham, Massachusetts, we do have a listing. It's a single family. It's over 1,200 square feet, ample space for parking. There's like 4 bedrooms and like 2 or 3 baths, 2 or 3 full baths. It was recently, they did some work on the kitchen and the bedrooms and so forth. And it's priced at $649K for anyone that has a pre-approval for up to or beyond that amount. Definitely reach out to us. Let's talk. Let's get you into the space. We have an open house for that particular property in Raynham on Saturday, this coming Saturday. So please reach out to me if you're interested in taking a look at the property.
All right, you all heard it here, okay? Straight from Miss WAKISHA Charley, as we talk today about real estate and motherhood. Thank you so much once again. You are greatly appreciated. Thank you to all of the viewers and supporters. Again, you have the information to contact Miss Charley. And at this time, it is a wrap, okay? We love it here, and we hope you do as well. Listen, WAKISHA, you look beautiful. You are amazing. And there's so many more great things ahead for you, and I'm looking forward to it. Look, keep me posted. Let me know, because there's going to be just all kinds of wonderful things happening, because you have a wonderful spirit, wonderful heart, a beautiful smile. Okay, look, she came up in here. Look at the outfit. Okay, don't hate.
When you look good, you feel good. Okay,
exactly. She came ready. Okay, and here's the thing, and she's professional. Okay.
100%.
So we are out of here, but we thank you all once again, and we will see you next time on the platform. Holla. Bye.
Bye.